You need to get us out of here.
Yeah.
Well, that sure was another Jurassic Park movie. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is fine. It's not fantastic, and it's not terrible. What it is stuffed full of gratuitous references to the original film, with a healthy dose of heavy-handed finger-wagging on the dangers and consequences of meddling with powers that ought not to be meddled with. The movie eventually ends, then you go home, and you never think about it again. If this sounds to you like a familiar tune for this series, you're definitely not wrong. After all, we're talking about a franchise now 5 films deep where still only the first one is actually worth watching more than a single time. It just feels to me at this point like, apart from the "hey kids, playing God is bad, okay" message that every one of these movies leans on, there really isn't anything for the Jurassic Park / World series to do besides think up increasingly over-the-top and unlikely backdrops to set people running away from hungry dinosaurs against. This time around, these backdrops take the form of an island being consumed by lava, as well as an enormous old-timey mansion for our dino-centric action to play out in. Just as the previous film, Jurassic World, was pretty much a beat-for-beat remake of Jurassic Park, but with minor details changed and ramped-up action set pieces, Fallen Kingdom here is pretty much a beat-for-beat remake of The Lost World, but with minor details changed and ramped-up action set pieces. The setup is that Isla Nublar is about to become uninhabitable due to the imminent eruption of its never-before-mentioned volcano. A rescue effort is launched by the never-before-mentioned estranged partner of Richard Attenborough's character John Hammond from the original film, in a move that sort of feels like nobody bothered to tell the screenwriter or director of this movie that Attenborough had in fact passed away several years ago and thus wouldn't be available to appear in this film until about 5 minutes before production began. But anyway, the plan is to get as many dinosaurs off the island as possible and into a wildlife preserve before the volcano erupts, and from there, well, if you're curious about the rest of the movie but don't actually want to go see it, I would encourage you to just watch the latest trailer, since it pretty much lays out the entire plot. What few plot points are not revealed in the trailer are mostly pretty predictable, though not insultingly so, and I think it's safe to say at this point that nobody is really watching these movies for the story anyway. The action is decent, if not overly silly in parts, especially towards the end, and there are a few moments of tension that accomplish what they set out to, though not ever to the extent that you really feel like any of the good guys are in some real danger. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard return from the previous film and continue to be just as memorable and interesting here as they were there. That is to say, not very.
This is not why we're here.
For the new players, we get the aforementioned not-quite Richard Attenborough old man character, his dino-obsessed granddaughter, 2 spectacularly unfunny comic relief sidekicks who are mercifully not in very much of the movie. Ted Levine makes an appearance as the totally on-the-up-and-up mercenary in charge of the actual dinosaur capture and extraction process. Then there's also Jeff Goldblum, who shows up for what seems like it was probably only about a day's worth of shooting.
Must go faster.
In a courtroom scene where he waxes philosophical about chaos and inevitability and Mother Nature and all that other stuff that people remember from the older movies. Though, once again, about 75% of his dialogue is featured in the trailers, so if that's all you're looking for, you can get most of it there. The actors all do a decent job across the board, despite having very little to work with character-wise. These people are all the exact archetypes you've come to expect from a Jurassic Park movie. You've got the optimistic heroes who want to help the dinos live out their lives in peace, unmolested by human interference, as well as the cynical, profit-driven baddies. Nobody really breaks the mold or stands out in any particular way.
How would you describe what your job is, and what are the most important elements of your job?
It really depends. Today, it is important for me to walk down a stream and turn my head a certain direction and squint my eyes.
I know I'm being mostly negative on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but honestly, it's a fine movie. It's about as entertaining as the last Jurassic World was. The only discernible difference as far as I can tell between the two is that Jurassic World had the distinct advantage of being far enough removed from the older films to be able to cash in on nostalgia for those movies more effectively than this one, despite not actually being any better in my opinion. What I will say positively in regards to this movie, without giving anything away, is that the setup at the end of the film seems like it could actually go in an interesting and fresh direction for the sequel if the filmmakers resist resist the urge to once again regurgitate aspects of the previous films, which, let's be honest, is exactly what's gonna probably end up happening, but hey, a man can hope. Overall, I'd say if you liked the previous movie, you'll probably like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as well, and you should probably go check it out. Whereas if you didn't like the previous one, or you were fairly indifferent to it like I was, you could probably either wait until Netflix to watch this one, or just skip it entirely. I seriously doubt this is a movie that's going to change your mind one way or another.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you could hit that like button, subscribe for more content in the future, and leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on the Jurassic Park series, including this movie. There's some links to other videos up here on the screen that you could check out if you would like to. Thanks once again for watching, and take care.
Hate this hacker crap!
Call Nedra's people.